Good afternoon, friends. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to Etienne's Place. My name is David Etienne of Etienne Business Solutions. We're a certified public accounting and business consulting firm, and we have our what I call our information platform, which is our YouTube channel, Etienne's Place. So again, welcome to our today's episode, our podcast for the day. Today, I want to spend some time looking at business life cycle. Business life cycle. If I should omit the word business and just say life cycle, then I guess you could quickly and easily apply that to any living organism, whether individuals, plants, or animals. And if I say to you, outline to me the life cycle of a particular plant or of a particular animal or a person, then yes, you could go to the generic um, stages of birth of a child, animal, whatever, growth, maturity, etc., eventual death. That's the cycle. And it is no different for businesses. It's no different for businesses. And it's very important to be aware of this because being knowledgeable that businesses or a business has a life cycle. Number one, being aware that there's a cycle. Number two, being very familiar and conversant with the various stages of that cycle and what each stage brings in terms of opportunities or challenges will help us to better navigate what can be very choppy business waters from time to time. So today we're going to be looking at business life cycle. And you will notice that it will follow the same pattern as any other life cycle, just specific to your business. So let's begin. And so hippie hooray, you have this grand idea, huh? You get up one morning and you're feeling on top of the world and you feel, okay, yeah, I think I'm going to, I have a wonderful, wonderful idea and I've been thinking about it and I think is something that I should act on. And so I'm ready to move forward to create a business. And so essentially, what you're doing is you're at that point where you're getting ready to transform a thought, transform a thought or an idea into a realistic and sustainable business venture. My choice of words and terms is not, some people say, by accident or by happenstance. It is really specific and deliberate. So I'm just going to repeat that first step in the business life cycle. Yes, you have this grand idea. You went to bed, you got this vision. Your grandma came from the grave in your dreams and said to you, girl, this is the business you need to go into. Bottom line is that you have decided that you're going to take this thought, this idea, and you're going to transform it into a realistic, not some pie dream, a realistic and sustainable business venture. A lot of times people approach businesses and they think it's a business, but basically it's a hobby. You enjoy doing it, it's fun, it makes you feel proud, and you think, okay, yay, it qualifies as a business. And you spend the next umpteen years trying to make it into a business when it's just a hobby. So basically, so at that first stage, I call it the seed phase. The seed phase. You're planting the seed. You're saying, take my dreams, take my thoughts, take my aspirations, and I'm going to make the first step. The first step is to transform this dream, idea, or thought into a realistic and sustainable business undertaking. That's a seed phase. That's the exploration stage or phase. Okay? Good. That is very short lived because once you have made a decision to go in that direction, then you come to the next phase of the business life cycle, which I call the startup phase. The startup. Startup phase is basically, and people, if you get nothing from this podcast, get this stage too. Because this is where we have a lot of make or break decisions taking place. The startup phase is where you're going to match a business opportunity, match a business opportunity with your personal skills and your personal experiences. Okay? So you decide, okay, I want to get into this business. I'm going to start up this business. Do I have the knowledge? Do I have the skill? Do I have the experience required to start and operate this business? Now, mark you, I take the point that whereas experience cannot be bought, skills can be bought. So you're going to say to me, I may not have the skill to be a carpenter or a mason, but if I start a carpentry business, I can always hire carpenters. And I'm saying, fine, go ahead. But my philosophy is even if you're not the one who's going to be involved in the actual hammer and nail activity, if you're running a carpentry shop and you're hiring carpenters, you must at least be knowledgeable, be conversant of the activities, the duties, the workings of carpentry. So again, phase two is where you're going to match that business opportunity that you dreamt of, that you're launching, you're going to match it with your personal skills and experiences. And also at that point is where you're going to be thinking about access to initial capital, initial working capital, initial investment. Now, I mentioned initial capital and I mentioned initial investment, and there's a difference. Let's start with the investment part. And using the simple case of you wanting to become the world's greatest carpenter. So yes, so we know that there are certain infrastructure and tools and equipment that must be garnered, that must be gathered for you to start this business. So that would represent your initial investment. Okay, you need to have funding to equip your shop with necessary tools, machinery, you name it, to start out your carpentry business or whatever it is. So that's your initial investment. And I also mentioned working capital. Working capital. Remember, after you have equipped and tool and you open your door for the first day and you start business, no matter how how great the initial influx of customers will be, it will take some time for you to start generating revenue. And revenue or cash flow is the lifeblood of the business. So, in addition to your initial investment, you will certainly need to have some amount of working capital. Some people say, based on the nature of the business, some people say 3 months, 6 months working capital, available funds to take you to that point where the business now starts to generate its own money. So, phase two is really the startup phase. Startup phase, your experience, your capacity to, your skill set, and also the fact that you now need to start up with financing. Again, the financing may be something that you may have been planning all these years. So the money necessary for that initial investment, maybe you already have it in the bank sitting there. Also the working capital. Okay, if that is the case, hip hip hooray. Possibly you do not have that, and so you're going to be seeking funding or family loan or take some early withdrawal from 401k, your retirement account, or whatever the case is. However it goes, you will have to talk about that initial flow, inflow of funds representing your initial investment and also your working capital. That is phase two. Then, once you have that in place, business is now operating, business is happening, things are happening, the wheels are turning. And so what we're looking is that day after day, day by day, we're expecting that things will get better and better and better as the child grows, as the business grows. So we're looking at the growth phase of the business, huh? The growth phase of the business. And there are certain features, certain characteristics that are ought to be present in that phase. And there are also some challenges that will present themselves in the growth phase that we need to be cognizant of and be wary of. Because not to be aware or to ignore could court disaster for us. So at that growth phase, there are a range of issues that you need to contend with. Okay, you're talking about scarce resources in the arena of business, or some people may say in the economic arena. One of the burning issues in the economic arena is always limited resources pitched against unlimited wants. That's a consumer dilemma, but that is also a dilemma that faces businesses. There's always going to be limited resources. And once there are limited resources, then there are several entities vying for the same limited stock of resources. And you're faced with the same reality. So that growth phase is going to present one of the challenges you'll find in that growth phase is where you're talking about you know bidding, competing for scarce resources, which will be time and money. At the end of the day, that's what it boils down to. Resources in terms of finance, resources in terms of time, and time come in the form of personnel, etc., etc., etc. Okay? And as you grow, you will find that yes, at the beginning, you could get by with a little hardcover book to jot down your little business information. Then you may gravitate to something that look like a Word file. Then you will decide, okay, no, I need to get something that will help me with some calculations. And so you transition into to using your Excel worksheet, and that is working fine. And then eventually you'll find that no, a little accounting software is really what I need. And this is just what will happen as you go through that growth phase. So those are some of the little challenges, and I call them challenges, not difficulties, because they are natural occurrences of that phase. You're in growth phase, so everything is growing. You just have to be aware and be ready to meet the demands of that phase as they occur, as they come according. So that's the third phase. We looked at the seed phase, okay, the dream, the thought, and so we move now to the startup phase, and now we have looked at the growth phase. And so, all things being equal, you're growing and you're happy, business is just happening, booming, and things are taking off, taking off. Okay? And so, the rate of growth is evident, evident, going places, going places. And then you reach to that point now where we can call it your established phase. So you are basically you are matured. The business is mature. It is well established. Established. It has its clientele base. It is known. It has its marketing done pat. It has all its distribution channel and its supply chain well intact. And so it is really at the established phase. Okay. Um, Now at that established phase, it is basically saying to you that your growth phase was successful because your growth phase led to where established. You are now established and you're happy. So you have to growth phase. Good. Now, being at the growth phase, passing the growth phase, you go to the established phase. I have to be very careful because at the established phase, if you're not careful, you could give in to complacency, to feel that you have arrived. Very, very important to note. Okay. At that established phase, when people get a little lax, I get a little relaxed. Okay. So at that point, they fail to focus on improvement and productivity. So the kind of attention to detail that they had prior to, they find that okay, now they sort of more relaxed, more laid back, etc., etc. And so that's somebody you have to be very careful in that established phase. Having been in the established phase for a while, you may decide, I think it's time that I start to explore other related opportunities. Other related opportunities, meaning that you were thinking maybe we should consider expansion. You may consider horizontal expansion or vertical expansion. You may want to broaden your distribution point or the number of shops you have, or you may want to have some vertical expansion where you say, okay, I'm going to now tap into the wholesale level or whatever to ensure that I kind of cover all bases. That's expansion phase. So you want to maybe enter new markets, etc., etc., etc. Once you have gone through that, then we come to what we refer to as a mature phase. All businesses come to that time when they fall in the matured phase. Okay, I'm just checking my battery life here. I should be good to go. Right. We reach to that mature phase. All business come to that mature phase. Or in the mature phase, naturally you're going to find that yes, you start having declined sales. It's matured, so the rate of return is decreased. So you may still have sales going on, but declining sales. Your profits are declining. Your cash flow now becomes negative, and so it is now time for you to sort of determine if it's time for you to breathe new life in the business, retool, right? Reorganize to give it a new life, or if it's a case where it is now mature, just do the best of maturity phase and look towards closing down. Not saying you should, but that is when it is matured. There's not much more you can do about the business. It has done all that it can do. So do you just keep it and keep going until it is no longer, or is there an opportunity for you to breathe some new life in the business and take it forward? There are times when you find that additional investment, and as I said before, exploring new opportunities may be the way to go to breathe new life into a mature, waning business. But there are times when it is really that time when one should be considering exiting. Because, yes, businesses do also have what we call an exit phase, where it has outlived its usefulness. For example, if it is a heavy technology based entity, you may find that the time for X technology is over, is past. So it's either you're going to move with the times, but if you're not ready or prepared to do that, they're going to find that okay, maybe it is time for us to move out of business because we have matured, we have outlived our usefulness, and so it is time to exit. And why is it important for you to consider this point? Because it is always good to plan for that exit point. Because if it catch you unaware, you could be in problem. But if you plan properly, you will be able to identify when it is time to exit. So that's basically in a nutshell is a business life cycle. And I thought I would just want to introduce you to it and make sure that you're aware of what is happening. Okay, that's it for now. I'm David Etienne. This is Etienne's Place. Check us out on my YouTube channel, Etienne's Place, where you can be further informed. Have a good day and God bless.